So I'm interviewing Edward Thomas, who was born May 20th, 1939, and he served in the Vietnam War in the Army. His highest rank reached was captain, and this is being recorded on May 25th, 2016 in Alto, Michigan. My name is Jessica Thomas, and I'm interviewing my grandpa. This interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress. So, what was your family like at home? Like, how many siblings did you have?
Well, you mean when I was young? Well, it would be
Yeah.
the same ones. I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay. Did you have any older siblings or any younger siblings?
My older sister, Harriet, who is a year and a half older than I am.
Okay. Do you have any other family members who served in the military?
Yes, my brother Steve, who's 10 years younger than I am, served in the Air Force.
Okay, cool. Uh, what were your parents' occupations?
Let's see, my father was initially a milkman who went door to door delivering milk. And then he went up to be the credit manager at the creamery. And that was about it. And then after he retired, he sold used cars.
Okay. What were you doing before you entered the service?
Well, I went to the University of Minnesota and got a degree, and I went through ROTC then, and that's how I got into the Army.
Okay, how did you enter the service? Was it by draft or enlistment?
No, it was through ROTC, where you went, it was 4 years, and you attend classes, and you ended up, when you graduated from college, you were commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army. And then from then on, I had duty assignments. I started out going to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And then I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama, where I went through flight training. And then I went to Germany for 3 years. And then for Vietnam for one tour.
So, did you have any specialized training? Was it difficult or?
Well, the Fort Sill was to be an artillery officer, and it wasn't difficult. I mean, you had to study, and we did a lot of on hand stuff. And then flight school at Fort Rucker was it was from September to June, the end of June, and that was difficult because we had flying as well as class work, and it was tough, but I managed to get through it all right.
Okay. So how was it adapting to military life? Was it like physically demanding?
Well, see, I just went from right out of college into the military, so there was really not much adjustment to do because that was the first life that I really had as a grown-up. So it was pretty easy.
Okay. So how was the trip abroad? Like, how did you get there
To
to your stations? Did you
in,
take a plane or?
in Germany? No, well, at Fort Sill we just drove, and Fort Rucker we just drove, and then going to Germany, then we took a boat, which I believe was 9 days.
Oh,
And then
that's a long trip.
we got to, yeah. And when we got to Germany, then we jumped on a train, and it took us to the city I was stationed in. And coming back home, then it was on an airplane.
Okay. So what were your emotions relating to combat? Was it traumatic in any way?
Combat? Uh, uh,
Well, your involvement.
Well, we can talk about combat in Vietnam, and it was, of course, I was a pilot there, so it wasn't like I was an infantry guy down on the ground, mud and swamps all of my tour. But there were still scary days, yeah. And But after a while, you didn't think about that anymore. You just went and did your job and tried to be safe.
So, did you form any friendships during the service?
Well, certainly, yeah. When we were in Germany, actually, when we were in Fort Rucker, Alabama, we made friends, of course. And in Germany, we had a lot of friends. And Vietnam, not so much, because it was just guys, it wasn't families. Then after a while, those friends kind of dwindled away.
So, how did you stay in touch with family and friends back home while you were gone?
Well, at that time, there was no email and no computers and no Skype, and so it was just writing letters. And when I was in Vietnam, then I would send tapes back. You know, I'd make a conversation like this and send it, and then Judy would return it.
Okay. So, did you have any off-duty pursuits or recreation?
Well, sure, in Germany we did. You know, it was just, duty day was like from 8 to 5, and then we'd have bowling, couple bowling, man and wife bowling, in church and Sunday school, and much like you have today, at home.
Okay. So, how was flying a plane? Were you going over Vietnam with the plane?
Was I flying over Vietnam?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was based there. I
Okay.
was based right in the country, and I'd fly one mission in the morning and one mission in the afternoon, and I'd fly generally 150 hours a month, which is a lot, but it's at least 4 hours every day.
Oh. Did you get tired while you were flying?
Not really, no, because you always had a good night's sleep. Generally, always, yeah.
So, what were your missions? Like, what was your objective?
Well, I was in charge of reconnaissance of a province in Vietnam. The province is very much like a county, I would say. But mine was pretty big because it would take me 2.5 hours to fly around it. But you would fly visual reconnaissance, and you got to know, oh, there was a sampan. There wasn't a sampan here yesterday, but there's one here today. Now, is that good or bad? So I'll have to check in on it tomorrow. And it's things like that. Nothing that would change the outcome of the war for sure.
Okay. So, how many other people did what you did? Like, how many other people served the way you did?
In the whole country of Vietnam at once?
Yeah, how many people did your sort of mission?
Oh, I would say probably, well, it was probably 40 pilots in our company, and then there were several different companies like that throughout the country. So there's quite a few.
Okay. Were there any significant events that took place that you remember?
Oh, golly. I remember Tet, which is a Vietnamese holiday. Things would go just really crazy. And I remember once, there might have been one of our outposts was under attack or something, so I'd go out, and my airplane was armed with rockets, so I would shoot rockets at them, but coming back in, for some reason the friendly forces would be shooting at me because it was just wild. So I went around, and I came in with my lights off. And I had my mechanic, my crew chief, park the Jeep on the end of the runway, so I knew where it was. And I figured, well, I'll land just perpendicular to him and that'll be right. Well, if I had landed perpendicular to him, I'd have been about 30 degrees off the runway center line, so I had to make a quick turn at the end. But that, and then once I got a bullet hole in my wing, and my crew chief was very mad about that. Because he said, "Captain Thomas, what are you doing?"
So, where were you when the war ended?
Well, I was flying for Northwest Airlines by then because the war didn't end until 1974, I think. Yeah, so I'd been with Northwest Airlines for 7 or 8 years by then.
So you got taken out of the conflict before it ended?
Yes, yeah.
So you became a pilot after your service?
Yeah, yes.
Cool.
I was a pilot in the service too.
Yeah.
So it's just a transition from flying a small airplane to a big airplane.
So how did you return home?
On an airplane, a jet airliner, and we landed in San Francisco, as I remember, and then we had to go through the going out process, and then I flew on Western Airlines, which is no longer in existence, from San Francisco to Minneapolis. And this is kind of a side story. I don't even know if you know about this. Do you know about this?
I don't know.
When I got home to Minneapolis, it was on May 10th. And of course, my family was there to meet me, and my daughter Christine and Judy. And so we went home. And about 6 o'clock in the morning, Judy said, "I think we have to go to the hospital because I'm in labor."
Oh.
So haven't driven a car for 9 months. I got lost in Minneapolis. It was cold and drizzly, and I'm used to a cold air or a cool night of being 80 degrees. So we went to the hospital, and your father was delivered. Did you know that?
No.
Really? He didn't tell you that?
No.
My. So now you know.
Yeah.
May 11th, 67.
Cool. So how was readjustment to civilian life?
Well, the hardest part, I think, was knowing what you're going to do. I mean, I immediately got a job with a friend of mine whose father ran a business that made civil engineering laboratory equipment. So I got a job there, and I was just happy to be home. I didn't care. And then at that time, Northwest Airlines was hiring like mad, so I got hired by them. So I started work there. I got home in May 11th, as I said, and I started working July 7th. So it wasn't very long.
So did you stay in contact with fellow veterans over the years?
Not really, no. No.
Have you been a member of any veterans organizations? Or
No, I haven't. No.
okay. So what awards did you receive afterwards?
Well, I received the Bronze Star and Air Medal with 22 Oakley clusters, which means I won it 22 times. And a Good Conduct Medal and the Vietnamese Campaign Ribbon, I think, and that's about it. Yeah.
So how did the wartime experiences affect your life afterwards?
Well, I think it made me think about the poor guys that were still over there. You know, they'd go over to Vietnam for a year or two, and I just thought, and it wasn't a very popular war. Nobody wanted us there, but we were there. And it was I was so happy when it was finally done, over with. Yeah. But I think, I think it makes you mature a lot more. And, yeah.
So, do you have any life lessons that you learned from your military service?
Pardon?
Do you have any life lessons that you learned from your service?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Just, I was an officer, but just still, I always tried to treat the non-commissioned people, the privates and etc., with respect, because they did a good job too. I mean, it was just, but to treat everybody equally nice. And you can't go wrong with that, can you?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Okay, well, it was fun.
Yep. Thank
If
you
you
so
have
much.
more questions, we can do it again.
Okay.
Okay?